What if we could find natural remedies that were more powerful than drug medication and had significantly less side effects? We're gonna look at the most powerful natural remedy for ulcers. Hey everybody, Chad Cruiser here with Health and Homestead. Now you might be thinking, why would I waste my time with natural remedies when there's plenty of drugs out there that I could get from my doctor? One of the most popular drugs for ulcers are something called proton pump inhibitors. And they do work, and the way that they work is by lowering the acid content of your stomach. They have all kinds of side effects, but research in the journal Gut reveals that among many other side effects, they may increase the risk of cancer. But vitamin U was found to be more effective than standard medical therapy for peptic ulcers in 2 separate studies. Now, before jumping off to Amazon and trying to buy some vitamin U in a pill form, it's actually better to get it in its natural form. Looking at this vitamin U, over time it was shown to not technically be a true vitamin, but rather a substance derived from methionine, which is an amino acid, and it is still referred to as vitamin U in modern studies in the scientific literature. And there are multiple potential causes of ulcers. A bacterium called H. pylori is the most common cause that we know of, but the journal Epidemiologic Reviews suggest that 50% of people in the world, actually over 50% of people have H. pylori, but evidence suggests that only 5 to 10% of people will have an ulcer in their lifetime. So it seems that something else must happen in the body for it to break down the lining of the gut to cause the ulcer. Now, you can get ulcers without an H. pylori infection. One way is with non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug usage. Ibuprofen and Aleve are examples of these so-called NSAIDs. So the question is, how do you get vitamin U naturally? Vitamin U is a substance found in certain green vegetables. Vitamin U is a compound called methylmethionine sulfonium chloride, and it is specifically found in cabbage. And in 2 studies, vitamin U was administered in the form of fresh cabbage juice. So this is really where you want to get it. The ulcer patients would receive a total of 1 quart of cabbage juice a day, divided into 4 or 5 drinks a day. So they divide up that quart into 4 or 5 drinks. In one study, the average reversal of peptic ulcers with standard drug therapy would take around 40 days, whereas the cabbage juice protocol reversed the ulcer in 10.4 days on average. That is 1/4 of the time that it took to heal from the drugs, and yet without the side effects. You might be asking, well, how did they actually know for sure? The reversal was shown both radiologically and with gastroscopy. I want to share with you quickly what happened personally to me when I had the ulcer. Basically what happened is I went to bed one night. Before going to bed, I had headaches, so I took 3 ibuprofen, and they did what they are sometimes likely to do, and that is to give you an ulcer. But good thing is that I actually used this particular remedy, and it worked fantastically well. I tried other things, like I took Tums, and they would get rid of the pain for like 2 hours. I tried charcoal, that would get rid of the pain for about 2 hours. When you eat a meal, the pain goes away until you digest it. Once you digest the food, then because that stomach acid is just burning at that ulcer, it hurts again. And so I found finally the best option was cabbage juice, and sure enough, that is what the scientific literature reveals. Well, here's some other potential benefits. In another study, researchers used valproic acid to damage the kidneys of rats. Now, that was not very kind of them, but though I don't put too much stock in animal studies, taking vitamin U was protective to the kidneys, it was anti-inflammatory, and it also evidently had an anti-fibrotic effect. Well, could it work for fibroids? I'm not really sure. It has been suggested that cabbage is good for fibroids. And one particular study found that women who ate less cabbage, Chinese cabbage, apples and tomatoes, had more fibroids. Now, we don't really know for sure if it will help with fibroids in humans, but hey, it's probably not going to have any negative side effects, so it might be worth a try to juice some cabbage. In another rat study, once again, take this one with a grain of salt. It's an animal study. It doesn't mean it will turn out the same in humans. They gave human gastric cancer cells to rats and tried seeing the impact of certain green juices on cancer cells. They tried kale, chlorella, and cabbage juice on these gastric cancer cells, and it turned out that cabbage juice was the most powerful at inhibiting gastric cancer cell growth, but check this out. This is quite interesting. Cabbage juice inhibited growth by 40%. By mixing chlorella with cabbage, it inhibited growth by 57%, but mixing kale and cabbage inhibited growth by 65%. The only side effect I found was that I would juice it in the morning, and like they said, it was 1 quart a day. I would do a quart or maybe more, and then I would drink it every 4 hours, because every 4 hours the pain would come back. And I didn't want to juice every 4 hours, so I would juice enough at one time and then I would save it for the rest of the day. I would have to drink it every 4 hours, even into the night. Even I would have to wake up because the pain would come back and I couldn't sleep, so I'd go drink it again. The trouble is that every hour that it sits in the fridge, it becomes more foul and noxious in its smell. It smells like some nasty smell coming out of somebody's body. And so I don't mean that it was coming out of me, it just, the actual smell of it is disgusting as the day goes on. But in the beginning it's not too bad, and if you got time, you could juice it over and over each day and avoid that one negative side effect. But I'll tell you, it was life-changing. It got me over my ulcer, and I'm so thankful to find out about this. If you know someone that has an ulcer, let them know, and this could literally change their life so they don't have to take drugs for years and years. It changed my life. And if you like this video, we have many more videos on scientific studies on natural remedies, many of them that are just as good or better than drugs with significantly less side effects. If you want to know more about it, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifications. God bless and have a fantastic day.